Why is it that just when life begins to shift in our favor, we suddenly find ourselves tripping over our own feet? Success should feel like relief, like finally coming up for air after years underwater. Yet for many people, it feels heavy, unsettling, and even dangerous. Just when they are about to win, they pull back. Just when the door opens, they hesitate to walk through. This is the paradox of self-sabotage. It is rarely about laziness or a lack of discipline. More often, it is about fear, the fear of being seen, the fear of responsibility, the fear of being judged, or even the fear of happiness itself. On the surface, it makes no sense. Why would someone sabotage the very thing they have been working toward? But the subconscious mind does not work with logic. It works with familiarity, and familiarity feels safe even when it hurts. So, when life begins to expand, when you begin to rise, that expansion can feel threatening to the part of you that is still stuck in old stories. That is why procrastination creeps in right before a breakthrough. That is why perfectionism suddenly paralyzes you when you are about to release something important. That is why you might return to old habits the moment you start to feel proud of yourself. The real enemy is not outside you. It lives quietly inside your own mind. The question is not whether you want to succeed, but whether you feel safe enough to allow yourself to. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to return to the very patterns that hurt you most? It's almost as if chaos itself has a strange kind of comfort. To the logical mind, this seems absurd. Who would choose pain? But the subconscious mind is not seeking happiness. It is seeking what feels familiar. If you grew up around criticism, rejection, or instability, then on some level, that is what feels normal. So when life offers peace, stability, or success, a part of you feels unsettled. The quiet feels suspicious. The praise feels undeserved. The victory feels temporary. And so, without realizing it, you recreate the chaos you know how to survive. You might pick fights in relationships, procrastinate on opportunities, or convince yourself you're not ready. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because suffering feels safe. This is the hidden cycle of self-sabotage. Your nervous system clings to the familiar, even when it is toxic. And ironically, peace can feel threatening when all you have ever known is struggle. The comfort zone is rarely comfortable. It is just predictable. When you find yourself back in the same old patterns, it is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of conditioning. You are wired to return to what your body recognizes, even if your mind despises it. And until you see this clearly, you will mistake self-sabotage for failure, when in truth, it is just fear disguised as safety. The first step to breaking this cycle is not to shame yourself for repeating it, but to recognize the strange pull of the familiar. Only then can you begin to question whether the chaos you keep running back to is really home, or just a cage you've outgrown. We often talk about the fear of failure, but rarely do we admit that success can be even more terrifying. Failure is easy to explain. It keeps us hidden, unnoticed, and safe from expectations. But success demands that we rise. It demands that we change, and change always feels risky. When you begin to win, the stakes rise, more eyes are on you, more responsibility lands in your hands. Suddenly, your excuses no longer hold the same weight, because now you've proven you can. And with that proof comes a silent pressure. What if I can't keep this up? What if I fall from here? This is why so many people quietly sabotage their own growth. They miss deadlines, they oversleep, they retreat into old habits. Not because they don't want success, but because the possibility of losing it feels unbearable. Staying small feels safer than proving yourself capable, only to fear the crash that might follow. The truth is, success exposes you. It strips away your cover story. If you've always believed you were not good enough, then achievement challenges that identity and your ego resists. You tell yourself you're unworthy, you don't belong, or that this victory was just luck. These lies are easier to believe than the radical truth that you might actually be powerful. But here's what you must remember. Success is not about maintaining perfection. It's about expansion. It's about stepping into a bigger version of yourself, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Growth will always carry risk, but the greater risk is shrinking every time life invites you forward. The fear of success is real, but it is not a prophecy. It's only a test to see if you're willing to stop hiding and finally accept the weight of your own potential. If you've noticed a pattern of pulling back right when things are going well, it's not because you're weak or incapable. It's because your brain has been conditioned to seek the familiar. Even if that familiar pattern is struggle, chaos, or disappointment, your subconscious sees it as safe. So when momentum builds, your inner alarm system goes off. This isn't normal. Retreat. The first step to breaking the cycle is awareness. You have to catch yourself in the act. Ask, why am I procrastinating right now? Why am I talking myself out of this opportunity? Why do I feel the urge to blow this up when everything is finally working? Usually, you'll discover fear hiding beneath the surface. Fear of judgment, fear of responsibility, or fear of not being enough. Naming that fear weakens it. The second step is interrupting the pattern. Instead of acting on the old impulse, pause. Take one small action in the opposite direction. If you normally freeze when opportunity knocks, send the email, make the call, or show up anyway. If you normally avoid the stage when the spotlight turns toward you, take a breath and step forward. These small interruptions retrain your nervous system to see success not as a threat, but as something safe to embrace. The third step is rewriting the story you've been telling yourself. Many people sabotage because deep down they believe, I don't deserve this, or it won't last anyway. But every time you replace those thoughts with, I am capable of handling this, or I am allowed to succeed, you weaken the grip of old conditioning. This isn't about blind positivity, it's about consciously choosing a new narrative that aligns with your growth. Once you've identified and interrupted the cycle of self-sabotage, the next step is to create a foundation of habits that make it harder to slip back into old patterns. Habits are powerful because they run on autopilot, meaning that when your environment is stressful or when your self-doubt flares up, you'll still have supportive routines carrying you forward. The first habit is clarity. Every morning, remind yourself of what you're working toward. Write down your top 3 priorities or visualize the version of yourself you're becoming. This anchors your day in intention, leaving less room for distractions and self-destructive impulses. The second habit is progress tracking. When you measure your growth, even in small ways, you create undeniable proof that you're moving forward. This matters because self-sabotage thrives in the shadows of forgetfulness. When you don't track, it's easy to convince yourself you're stuck or undeserving. But when you can see how far you've come, it becomes harder to justify quitting or shrinking back. Another essential habit is self-regulation. Many people sabotage themselves not because they're lazy or unmotivated, but because they don't know how to manage stress, disappointment, or fear. Simple practices like deep breathing, meditation, or exercise act as emotional reset buttons. They help you process the intensity of success without unconsciously running away from it. And finally, create the habit of celebration. Too often, high achievers move the goalposts, reaching one milestone only to immediately chase the next. This keeps you in a cycle of never enough, which fuels burnout and avoidance. Pausing to acknowledge your wins, no matter how small, tells your brain, success is safe, success is enjoyable, success is mine to keep. These habits won't eliminate challenges, but they will build a strong inner framework that makes self-sabotage less appealing and less automatic. At the heart of self-sabotage is usually one belief: I don't deserve this. You may not say it out loud, but deep down, it whispers every time you get close to the life you've always wanted. The ultimate way to stop sabotaging yourself is to replace that belief with one that empowers you. I am capable, I am deserving, and I am safe to succeed. When you make this shift, success stops feeling like something that threatens your identity and starts feeling like an extension of who you are. Instead of waiting for the other shoe to drop, you begin to trust yourself to handle whatever comes. It's not about becoming perfect or fearless. It's about choosing to believe that you can thrive even in the face of challenges. With this mindset, your setbacks become lessons instead of excuses. Your victories become fuel instead of sources of fear. And little by little, you start to live in alignment with the version of yourself you've always wanted to become. Because the truth is this: the life you're chasing is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to expand you. And the sooner you stop sabotaging your wins, the sooner you'll realize that you already have everything it takes to keep building them. If this resonated with you, don't just scroll away. Take a second to reflect on one area of your life where you've been standing in your own way. Drop it in the comments and let's grow together. And if you want more insights like this, make sure to subscribe, because this is just the beginning of unlocking your highest potential.